You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from AnVi Invest. For more information, go to anviinvest.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of RE Social Podcast. Today, we have my one and only best friend from South India, Vivek Ramaswamy. He hates that guy. What's up, Vivek?
Yo, what's up, man?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Outside the country.
Yeah.
Is this the first time we're hanging out after your wedding?
Is it? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you come to Europe.
It's been almost a year now. Yeah.
Yeah. So people who haven't listened to your first episode, I think you were on one of a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Give a little intro about what do you do and where you at in terms of the investing side and like your career side, and then we'll get into like how we know each other too.
Career side. So where do I even start? So it's been a while. I've been working for like 16 years now, and started in engineering. So I studied engineering. Like both of us, we studied mechanical engineering, both in undergrad and grad. And I started working as an energy engineer. Did that for a long time, for about 13 years or so, and then moved into sustainability consulting about 3.5 years or so ago. Yeah, that was a great journey, and I absolutely love what I do. I love essentially advising companies on how to reduce their energy usage and how to reduce their carbon emissions. It's something I'm like really passionate about, and it's been great learning to talk to C-level people at these Fortune 500 companies. So I've learned a lot from that, learning to break down technical concepts to a non-technical audience. So my communication got a lot better, and just became a lot confident in what I do. So, and my work also allows me a lot of flexibility. I can pretty much work from anywhere. So that's been instrumental in helping me maintain my relationships with my friends and family, etc. Anytime something happens, I can just hop on a plane, go see them, hang out with them, spend time with them while meeting my work obligations. So.
Yeah, tell us about like how, because I work a 9-to-5 job, and I guess you do too, but you don't have to go into office, right?
Yeah.
So how has that changed your relationships and you're kind of like you're living with your spouse and now you're married too?
Yeah. So I got married almost a year ago. It's going to be a year on December 1st. Yeah, my career has pretty much always been remote, and being remote has its pros and cons. Yes, sometimes you're a little isolated, you're not with your coworkers a lot, but it can also be super liberating because it allows you to set your own schedule. You can, you don't have to work exactly a 9-to-5. You could work 4 hours early in the morning, take a longer lunch break, and then work later into the night. As long as your colleagues are aware of your schedule and you can move your meetings around, it totally works. And not only do you get the flexibility while you're at home to take care of any domestic responsibilities that you may have, but it helps you take care of yourself a lot better and also take care of your relationships. Like, for example, I have time to get a workout in. I wake up around 6 or so, get a workout from 6:30 to 7:30, have time to make breakfast and start work at 8. So being able to do that every day consistently helps me show up as a better employee, show up as a better husband, show up as a better friend. So consistent, and as you probably learned, consistency is key in life. You cannot just go to the gym one day and feel great. You got to go every day. So having this kind of schedule has really helped me build a strong base, helped me build my career, helped me build my relationships. Like, I'm here with you guys. You said you wanted to celebrate your 40th. I was like, okay, I'll be there. And I have the flexibility to do that. So I feel super lucky. Not all people are able to bounce around like that all over the world.
Do you recommend that people look into that when they're starting careers? See if a company offers that?
Yeah, 100%.
Or at least hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah, 100%. So this whole remote work thing started, as a baby of the whole COVID era, and a lot of companies have rolled back. So it really depends. If you want to make the deal with the devil and you want to go in 5 days a week, sure, you can do that. But is that something that's sustainable in the long run? Will you be happy? Will you be able to take care of yourself? Will you be able to take care of your family? Will you be able to take care of a child if you have one? It's harder to do that, honestly, doing that day in and day out, going in 5 days a week. But if you can work out something with your employer where, even if you can work from home 2 to 3 days a week, that can make a huge difference in your lifestyle. You'll have better mental health, you'll have better physical health, you'll have better relationships. That's what's been my experience so far.
Okay. So let me ask you this, right? So if you are such an accomplished engineer and you've been working for such a long time, why are you dabbling in stocks and real estate and doing all these things? Aren't you like, you can just do this rest of your life, right?
I mean, yeah, see, Vince is just baiting me with this, right? Yeah, I mean, yes, you could, but end of the day, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So you want to build wealth with your daytime job so that you have the flexibility. It would be nice if I could take a year off and just see the world, but I'm not in a position to do that right now. But if you do have a remote job, like one of our friends,
I mean, you could. You won't be saving money.
You'll be saving money, and one of our friends is actually doing that. He has a remote job, Prashant, and he's been to like over 100 countries. Yes, you can do that. You can work remotely. You can travel the world and do that. But the reason I invest is so that I have that option, 10, 20 years from now, where I'm able to choose whether I want to work or not. I can choose how much I work and have the freedom to spend time with my family or pursue a hobby or donate to a cause or work for a cause. Like just having that freedom is huge. So that's one of the main reasons I invest.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. So you would say, is that the only way out of the rat race, or is it possible to just work hard and get a pension and social security?
Well, it depends. You could get a pension, like certain industries, if you're a school teacher, if you work for the government, you could get a pension, but then, that probably kicks in at a certain age. So you're like bound by their rules. But if you're investing and you're able to build enough of a nest egg and you're able to invest it wisely, you could maybe shave 5-10 years off of that. So it really gives you that extra freedom as opposed to being dependent on your employer.
So what about for people who are listening and they say, tomorrow is not guaranteed, why, plan for 40 years in the future? I could just, take the extra cash and buy the watch and, travel the world today, because today's dollars, I could just go spend it, So what do you say to this? And where do you draw the balance?
That's balance. That's what it is. Balance is key, right? You don't want to be that hermit who's never been anywhere.
Hey.
Who's like never been anywhere. It's just like in a shell, just saving money, like eating beans and rice every day, and not enriching themselves. Because I think there is value in traveling when you're young. Like a lot of people delay it and say, oh, I'll travel when I'm older. But I feel traveling at a younger age shapes who you are as a person. It transforms you, makes you more cultured. So, which is why I've been trying to strike that balance. I've been to like maybe 30 countries or so. So while that's not huge, it's helped me a lot. It's helped me figure out where I want to be long term. And it's helped me form opinions on my worldview on like, it goes even as far as like figuring out where I want to invest my money. So far, I've seen that the US is a really good place to invest your money. And, things are changing over the past, 4 or 5 years. Things have like changed a lot. And when I see the conditions in other countries, for example, I was just in the UK and it just blew my mind how different the pay is over there. Like I was offered a position in the EU a few months ago, and it was almost like a 40% pay cut for doing the same amount of work.
And what about the taxes?
And the taxes are higher. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to make that deal. Like,
I thought you were a socialist person, Vivek. Don't you want to give it to the poor people there?
I mean, granted, yes, I love the EU. You have a good quality of life. They're definitely doing something right with their food and culture. Free healthcare. Free healthcare. Yeah, healthcare. Yeah, healthcare's covered. Universal healthcare and things like that.
Someone told me it's free but slow.
It's slow.
If you want a good, fast treatment, you have to pay.
From what I've heard, at least in the UK, I've heard the NHS is having trouble. Yeah. In fact, my wife is there in the UK right now, and she loves it there. She's like, "Why don't we move here?" I was like, "Yeah, if I could get the same amount of money I get in the US, I would jump on that." But it's really, really hard to get that level. So to get to that level, so ideally, what you want is maybe set up a business in the US so that you're making money here, and then you can move there and you can fund your lifestyle over there. Mm-hmm. So that's what some of our friends in our group have the ability to do that, but I'm not there yet.
Why should someone just scrolling by on Spotify listen to you, right? I mean, who are you? I mean, like what have you accomplished? Do you have a house? Do you have a stock portfolio? Do you invest in bonds, Bitcoin? What is that you got going on?
So what do I have going on? I started dabbling in real estate back in 2015 or so. And after I met some random guy on an internet forum, which, wasn't
it
even
the Pakistani dude?
It was a Pakistani guy,
Nice,
and it
yeah.
wasn't even like a real estate forum. It was just like a guy's self-improvement forum on in which we discussed how to talk to girls. Yeah, I met this guy. He showed me the ropes. I bought my first 4 unit with I think I had $15,000 to put down. Back then it was such a sweet
we're talking
deal.
about 2015.
We're talking about 2015, where interest rates were low, is in the threes.
Fours, I think.
Fours, and you could buy money. You could buy, stuff with 3.5%, 5% down, and it would still cash flow. Those were the heydays of real estate investing, and not many people knew about
But people
that.
probably laughed at you when you did that, right?
Right, yeah.
And they said you're making a mistake.
You're making a mistake. They were
You came to the thing too late.
Yeah, they were like, oh, you don't want to be a landlord. You have to deal with the headaches. You have to, someone's toilet goes down. You have to deal with it. This and
And those are all true.
It is true, yeah. But, as with everything, there's ways to figure that out. You hire people. As long as you put together the right team, you need to have the right agent. You need to have a good team of people to handyman to handle the place. Sometimes you need property management, sometimes you don't. I've never used property management. I can do without it. And yeah, you can do fairly well. Now these, and then, so that was my first fourplex that I bought when I was in Chicago. I moved to Philly, bought 6 more doors, held those for some time, spent a decent amount reinvested a lot of the cash flow that I got from those houses back into them, made a decent amount of money on that, and that allowed me to buy. Actually, I also bought another primary residence while I was in Philly, which I haven't sold yet. I'm still holding on to it. And then selling those 6 doors allowed me to buy my house in Seattle, where I live right now, where housing is absolutely unaffordable. We're looking at $500 to $600 a square foot, and yeah, the real estate there is essentially inflated by all the salaries that people get over there.
So would you say that you have a pretty balanced portfolio of investments?
I would say, yeah.
Some
decent
stocks,
amount,
bonds, and real estate?
Yeah, decent amount in
Would you say it's 50-50?
I would say almost it's 50-50. Yeah, that's a fair assumption. I would say, yeah. So I have that one house in Philly that I've rented out right now, and I have the house in Seattle, and I have some fractional real estate here with Vince that gives me some tax benefits. And yeah, with stocks, I max out my 401k, max out my Roth IRA. Been doing that for a while, so that's allowed me to build a decent nest egg. And then on top of that, I also put money in brokerage and stuff. And once that brokerage account grows to a certain amount, I typically end up buying some real estate.
And how long do you think it took? I'll give my answer, but how long do you think it took for you to go from zero to? Are we talking 40 years? What is it?
I mean,
how long do you actively try?
You could do that. For me, it was probably less than 15 years.
And then you didn't really try that hard in the beginning.
It was, I wasn't even trying. I was just being frugal, trying to save about half of what I made. I lived with roommates till I was 33, maybe 34.
When you bought your first property,
Right.
sorry to cut you off, you became, how many years was that?
First property to less than 10 years, I would say.
Yeah.
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 So that made, obviously the real estate was a huge, stepping stone. It helped me build that wealth, because I wasn't just buying real estate and waiting for it to appreciate. I was actively working on it. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars invested into the property, which allowed the property to appreciate. The rule of thumb I use is for every dollar you put in, the property should appreciate by $2. But if it's appreciating for $1 for every dollar you're putting in, you're just wasting your time. So that's the ratio. Yeah, that's the ratio you want to look for. So you want to invest in projects that would pay back. So I read some books that helped me figure that out, and I was able to leverage some of the knowledge of the friends I had in my network, and that helped me to get to where I am.
Have you thought about investing in real estate and taking advantage of all of those benefits without any of the work? That is something that AnVi Invest not only provides, but has been providing since its inception. With friends and family, we have built an empire and a system of a wealth generating tool that is giving us and our friends and family that leverage in their life to create true wealth. Go to anviinvest.com for more to see if you qualify. And thanks for listening.
I did some ChatGPT stuff last night because I drank too many Monsters and it was 3 a.m. I did look up some stuff, which will be interesting for us to talk about. Is the one top of my head was I looked up the last 30 years, I believe, of stocks versus real estate.
Right.
And do you want to guess how it was? What it was?
You mean the rate of return?
Yeah, year over year.
year over year.
And then so it's like compounded.
Right. I don't know, stocks, was it like 10, 12% probably?
Yeah, and then
Real estate, I don't know, 20%, 10, 15?
so stocks was like 8-9%, if
8-9,
I'm not,
okay.
and then real estate was like 3.8%.
Oh, that really? Interesting. I thought real estate would be a lot
Remember,
more.
we went through the 2008.
Oh,
Right?
that's
So that's why I wanted to go farther way back. So on paper, it looks like you would do pretty good with stock, and it's not bad. Stock's
Right.
pretty good, but talk to them about leverage.
Yeah, so that's the benefit you have with real estate, right? Leverage. For example, you have 100K to invest, and you could put it in the market, and
And get 8%. So that's
you
what
get, let's say you get 8%,
8,000.
you're making 8,000 a year, or you could buy property for
400K.
400K, right? Just put 25% down, and that's averaging like 3% a year, like you said.
3.8.
Yeah, so
times 4,
let's
that's
say 4%.
16.
That's you're making double the return right there. Not to mention the tax benefits you're getting from owning that real estate. So yeah, it's really a no-brainer. It's just that these days it's getting harder and harder, for people to come up with that money. So coming up with 20 to 25% down is a challenge. Back in the day, you could get away with lower amounts of money to put down. But yeah, it's a challenge. Not many people have 100K sitting around.
A fun thing that I tell people is if you go to the bank and you ask them, hey, I need, 300K, I'll put down 100K, I want to buy a house in Seattle or wherever you live. They'll be like, okay, cool. They'll look at your debt to income ratio and you're making money and you can service the debt, right? But if you go to the same Bank of America and ask them, can you borrow 300K to buy a Bank of America stock? They'll laugh at you.
Yeah.
Which tells you how different it is. And what Vivek mentioned was you need the 100K, right? But you just have to find the 100K. So I'm doing a deal right now, and I don't have 200K, right? But I'm probably going to close it, and I'll probably take money from Vivek, my sister, my dad, and then I'll find all that money, and then I'll invest it. So that's something you can't do with stocks, because if I ask you money to buy Bank of America stock, you'll be like, are you a moron?
Right.
Like, I'll just do it. You're not doing
Right.
any service for me, right?
Right.
So do you want to talk about that to people? So, I don't want people to be like, oh, I need, $500,000 to buy something in Orange County. Even in Orange County, if it's $1 million home, you only need $50,000. You could still do it. You just have to make sure that you can, have some roommates, house hack,
Yeah.
and pay the service, the debt. And that's what I did.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you can do what a lot of people do, right? Where
And you own part of that, one of that house.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Not
How much ROI are you making on that?
Yeah, that's a pretty good
It's
deal.
100%, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I got a decent amount of equity in that house for putting very little money down. And
That's called a homie deal, guys.
so yeah, that worked out pretty well in my favor. And not everybody has the capacity to do that, right? It's like syndicating deals and things like that. But what you can do is, house hack. Maybe find a duplex where you have a house and an ADU, like Vincent's house. He has an ADU that he's able to Airbnb on the side, and that gives him money to pay his mortgage off. And his house is big enough to have roommates right now, so he's single and he's able to charge these people. So his cost of living is super low. And then, so I feel that's a good way to
Get in, right?
Get in, yeah. Even before I bought real estate, like when I was renting, I would just rent the whole house, and I would get roommates, and I would interview them. So I would choose the people that I want to live with, and I could set what the rent was, and I could minimize what my share of the payment was, because I'm taking on the risk. Because one of the guys could just decide to take off one day, and I'm on the hook. So I use the power of my ability to negotiate, my ability to interview people, my ability to screen people, and take on that risk, and then minimize my cost of living, which eventually allowed me to save a lot of money, which allowed me to have the money down to buy my first real estate deal. So you got to figure out a way to essentially come up with the money.
Yeah, things add up. People forget, I mean, the amount of people that make fun of me because I'm 40, right?
Yeah.
And you're turning 40. And they're like, hey, bro, like, if you're so rich, why do you have roommates? And I'm like, do you know how I got rich?
Yeah.
It's because, you're buying new cars.
Right.
And I'm buying houses every year. Like,
Right.
I haven't not bought a house in a year in the last 7 or 8 years. Every year I'm buying, a house or two.
Right.
So, you have to sacrifice something in the present to, gain something in the future. So talk to people about a little bit about your thoughts on delayed gratification. What is that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oof, where do I even start? Because
Remember that story with the marshmallow and the kids? You know that story?
No, what's the story?
So they did this study in the 50s.
Yes. I think I know what you're talking about, where they keep a marshmallow on the table and they tell them that if they wait a certain amount of time, they will get a high reward.
2 marshmallows.
2 marshmallows, yeah. Or they could just eat the marshmallow that's there right now. And I think most kids just went for the marshmallow.
And I think they tracked that kid, and the kid that waited was more successful.
Right. There you go. So yeah, delayed gratification, and it ties back to the balance thing we were talking about, right? So yeah, you could buy a new car every 2 years, and you know live in a fancy condo, you know, spending 40 to 50% of your income on rent and living the life in your 20s. But now you have to remember that when you turn 50 or 60, you're not going to have that much money. You're going to have to live like a poor, essentially, like as Vince would say. Your 20s are your most crucial years, and it's kind of like a catch-22 situation, because your 20s are when you want to have the most amount of fun. It's when you want to travel the most. It's when you want to have those transformative experiences. But at the same time, it is also the most crucial time for you to build wealth. You know, for example, this is an example I give a lot of people is, for example, if you're 2 guys, right? Let's say Vivek and Vincent, right? Vivek is putting away $500 a month, starting age 20, every month, all the way up to age 60. Vincent is like, you know what? I'm going to party in my 20s. I will start at age 30. And I start at age 20. I invest $500 a month up to age 30 and I stop. Vincent is like, I'm going to start at age 30 and invest from 30 to 60. Can you guess at the end of when we both turn 60, who will have more money?
I guess from the way you're asking, the guy at 20
the guy who started at 20 will have more money because
crazy,
he started.
right?
Yes, because your money doubles every 10 years. So if you start
It depends on the rate of return, for sure.
it's like
10%.
It's like compounding, right?
Yeah.
So at 7%, it doubles every 10 years. Yeah. So if, for example, if you start at 30 and you go to 60 and you're able to save 500K, and if a person starts at 20 and is, investing all the way to 60, he's going to have $1 million. So he's going to have $500,000 more in those 10 years. So those 10 years that you chose to party and, travel the world, you just essentially gave away that much money. So you have to figure out for yourself, is it worth for me to not strike a balance in my 20s and suffer later when I'm 60? Or is it, should I strike a balance where I do travel a little bit, but I also make sure that I put away a large chunk of my paycheck that invests and compounds with the market? Yeah,
I think you make a good point. I used to be very, I actually didn't start till 32. And how many years did you tell me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Like multiple years.
At least like 3 years, I would say, right?
Yeah.
And I was 32 and I read it and I was depressed for 6 months. I've told the story many times because I was like, oh no, I wasted my whole life.
Right.
And then I'm a little bit of an insane personality. So it took me 6 years to become a so 32 to 38, but I'm just working nonstop all the time, raising capital, doing all kinds of crap. And I was able to catch up with you. The difference between Vivek and me is like, he's chilling hard. He's a hard chill mode. Like without doing much, you can generate a lot of money. And I'm like going nuts to keep up because you started at 25 maybe.
Yeah.
And then I started at 32, that's 7 years,
23 is actually when I started.
So you had like a 10-year head start.
Right.
So I want people to listening is like, it's never too late, to start. You can start in your 40s too. You just have to know the game and you have to work a little bit on it.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Cool, man. And also the other thing I wanted to talk about was the relationships that we have. I had JK on the pod a couple of days ago. Drew and I were interviewing him, and how every personality is very different. And we have a really, really strong ideas, and we work differently. So, Prashant and JK, they like to travel a lot. Whereas I'm like more like the homebody hermit kind of person, but I like to go like bunker mode and do it. And you're kind of like in the middle. You travel with Prashant a lot, and Drew likes to travel too.
Yeah.
But I see that you guys do that, and I'm like, this is actually like not bad, When I travel, I seem to, people tell me I'm more calm and stuff, except when you start talking about GDP and I start losing it, start yelling at JK, fist fighting, he's throwing towels on me. We're trying to get him on the pod. He's over there eating his, some supplements. But yeah, what do you have to say about that?
We're so lucky to have this group. In fact, I was just talking to JK this morning and I was saying, I'm so glad that we have this group because it's important to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, just get out of your head. And even JK was saying, it's very common for women to have these close female friendships. You go on trips together and, they bond with each other. But a lot of times men are just like, lone wolves, and they're expected to be okay being by themselves. That's really far from the truth, because we also need to bond with our other friends, spend time with them, have friends that challenge your ideas. And like Vince and I, we challenge each other all the time. Even JK, we all challenge each other, and we force each other to come outside our comfort zone. Like for the longest time, JK has been talking to me about, starting some sort of a coaching business where, I can help people with their finances. And it's been one of my passions for the longest time, is like to help people who are in their 20s with their finances, because I had no one and I had to figure it out on my own. And I think I wasted a little bit of time when I was in my early 20s. And that has cost me tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, just opportunity cost, because I had no one to guide me. So being able to partner with someone like JK has allowed me to actually finally realize that dream where I can help people. So yeah, I'd say it's super important to have a close group of friends.
But can you do one-arm pull-ups like JK though?
Actually, I can.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That helps with the low body fat.
Right.
He's like $160, just winning in life hard. But that's actually a good segue into all the notes that we have.
Yeah.
Talking about challenges and stuff. So let's hit it. You guys go crazy. What's your first one you got?
So right now, how I was talking, going back to the US economy, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's kind of weird. The economy looks strong, but it's also weird, when you look at the headline numbers, you're looking at unemployment is low, GDP is solid, stock market is booming, especially tech stocks through the roof.
What's the P&E ratio? Like 40?
Yeah, the P ratio is like through the roof. The average is like, typically floats around maybe
25 is good, right?
25 is good, but it's like probably double that right now. It looks amazing. People's 401ks look good, their brokerage accounts look good, but we don't know how sustainable this is. And when you talk to everyday people, everyone's like, why does everything cost 40% more? Like dining out is just ridiculous. Like before you could, $10-15 you could get a meal, but now it's, in the 20s. And if you want to go to better, nice place, like $50 for a meal. It's like, it's outrageous. And it's like we're almost living in two different economies. But so the data is saying one thing and the real world is saying something else.
So why do you think it is?
I mean,
here we go.
We're like, I don't know even where to start.
This is when the fist fight starts, guys.
Right? So, I mean, I think we have,
yeah.
Right? Like,
we have another mic. You want to? Yeah, cool.
I'll jump in for this.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to see 5-star reviews on any service or any product before I purchase. Please take a second to leave us a 5-star review, whether you're listening to it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever platform. Take a second, goes a long way, helps us a lot to grow the channel, and thanks for listening.